welcome back to my channel. So, we'll quickly get started on those Bible reflections I spoke to you about earlier. Now, we're starting with Genesis, of course. And the first story in Genesis is the creation story. So, let's quickly look at what the creation story is all about. And I'll be telling you, of course, what my own observation is about this story. Now, I'm not going to rehash it, of course. You know what it is. God made a lot of things. This beautiful big earth from nothing. There was just void, there was just emptiness, there was darkness. And somehow God used words to say, let there be this, let there be that. And the sky came forth, the plants sprang forth, the animals, the seas, and of course, light and man. Now, there were two things that I observed in this story which I find, to be honest, quite fascinating. For a God so powerful and so mighty and big, this creation story was very systematic and, should I say, methodical, if you will. It's very interesting that a God that powerful didn't just create the whole world in just one day. Why did he have to take him 6 days and then he had to rest after on the seventh day? Why didn't he just get it over and done with? Now, if you observe that creation story, there is a method you will see, is what I would like to call the create, pause, observe, and then continue pattern. That's what we see in the creation story. Now, what does this mean? If you read that story, you will see when he said there should be this, so when he created so and so, he paused, he observed it, he saw that it was good. You would always find he saw that it was good and then he moved on to the next thing. He didn't rush through everything. Everything came across as well thought out. And after the whole thing, he crowned his whole creation activity with rest. Now, this is very instructive for the believer as far as I'm concerned, because if you're very observant in the self-help space or in thought leadership, you will find a lot of advice that looks just like it. Advice get to creators, advice get to students, to entrepreneurs. When you hear the word reiterate, you know what this means, guys. It's basically an advice that we hear so often telling us that, create and then watch, see what works, then either double down or discard. I'm willing to bet that if God did not think that any of his creation was good, he was willing to start over till he had, that picture in his mind brought to life. And this is exactly what we should emulate Christ. Our names, Christians as a whole, Christ like. We are supposed to be like God. We are our race to perfection is becoming closer and closer to God. So we can emulate this creation process, this create, pause, observe before we continue in our life's journey. And we know that this is a process or a pattern that works. Why? Because God did it first. This creation story and this pattern emphasizes the importance of taking two steps backwards, to watch what you have done before you move ahead. It forces you to introspect, it forces you to reflect. If you want to follow this creation story just the way God did it and you want to apply it in your life, you know now that you just can't rush through anything, even if you have the power to. I always say that there is a place for intensity. With intensity, you just keep going and keep going and keep going till you get what you want. And you're applying so much speed and power to it. But there's a place for slowing down, and that's what our creation story in Genesis tells us about. You know what? You can create, that's beautiful. You can do this, you can do that, that's lovely. But you're not supposed to rush through it. Follow this pattern. Model your creation pattern after God. Because if you could do it, it clearly shows that it's something that can work. So I'm encouraging Christians to copy this pattern that has been laid out for us. When you're doing anything, when you're creating anything, go ahead and create. Then take a step or two back. Watch what you have done. Double down if you love it. And if you feel like it's not, perfect yet, you can push if you want to. But that's two step back that you've taken, that process of reflection will always help you to be better. Now, that's just the first thing that I've noticed, guys. The second thing was man's creation story. You know, there was a conversation there that God had with everyone else who was with him in heaven then. And he said, let us create man in our own image and likeness. I thought that was amazing. Beautiful thing about this statement is one, this tells us that we are co-creators with God. There is a part of the Bible that actually says this, and I love that it's basically circling back to our story at creation. It means that number one, we are co-creators with God. We have the image of God, and whatever God is, we have the power to be. We have the spirit of excellence. We are supposed to be a light, just as He is our light in our lives. Then it also means that we are supposed to be like Him with all the authority and attendant power, that comes with such likeness, guys. This is also further backed up when you go further in the Bible. As Christians, you must have heard, God's charge to us and His promise to us that, look, the power that I'm giving to you, you go ahead and you will do more than me. That's it. I don't know whether we are getting this, but it actually takes us back to now that I'm reading this creation story, I'm just thinking ahead of all the books I've read, down to the New Testament, and I'm beginning to see the relationship with the Old Testament. When God tells us that we will do more than Him, He's basically, when Jesus rather told us that we'll do more than Him, He's basically reminding us of the fact that we are created in God's image and likeness. So whatever we think that Jesus did while He was here on earth, that we can actually do the same. And we're doing it because of that very Spirit, the Holy Spirit, which is the very likeness and the Spirit of God that comes in us. Do you see the relationship, guys? So I think this is very profound. And which leads me to my second point about man's creation story, is that there is so much fixation on original sin. When you hear a lot about man's creation story, I don't think there is enough emphasis laid on the fact that man was created blessed. I feel like there is a lot of fixation on the fall of man, on man's sinful nature, which came about by the virtue of sins of our first fathers, that is Adam and Eve. But it is not supposed to be. We were actually given a charge at our creation. We're blessed. We're told to dominate. We're told to subdue the earth, and we're blessed with fruitfulness. This is a lot, guys, because if we want to go back to what this means, let's see, in dominating the earth, we're encouraged to use our talents, our gifts, our resources, our skills. We're tapping back into our creative side, which is how God is. We're also blessed with fruitfulness. It's an assurance that, look, as you dominate and subdue the earth, I'm going to make you fruitful in that, in whatever you find yourself doing. I think that's such a huge blessing, guys, because we're blessed to dominate the earth, we're blessed to subdue the earth. Now, note that this blessing was given to all men at the time of your creation. It doesn't matter who you are, male or female, young or old, you have the same charge to dominate and to subdue the earth. And notice that it is the earth we're asked to dominate to, not ourselves, guys. We're asked to subdue and dominate the earth, take charge of the resources, everything that God has deposited on this earth for our use. We're supposed to make good use of it, but not ourselves. We're not. There's no part of the Bible that encourages us to dominate and subdue the earth. And if you look at this further, if you choose to analyze it further, this statement completely eliminates the need for competition. Why do we see ourselves as rivals if all of us have the same blessing? It just means take your own part and I'll take my own part, or do your own part and I'll do my own part. We all have the same blessings. We're all encouraged to dominate. We're all encouraged to take charge. We're all encouraged to subdue, and we're all blessed with fruitfulness. If you know that you are blessed with fruitfulness, and I know that I'm blessed with fruitfulness, and the next person knows that they are blessed with fruitfulness, all we have to do is live. All we have to do is, dominate and take charge in our own little corner. All we have to do is to just let our light shine. All we have to do is, use our talents, our gifts, and resources to the glory of God, knowing fully well that we are all fruitful, that we are all blessed. Do you understand? So the the blessings at man's creation is in fact is something that every Christian needs to work with at every point in time, needs to remind themselves of at every point in time. Whenever you feel the need to compete with the next person, just remind yourself, what am I competing with the next person for? I'm already blessed. I was created blessed. that okay, if this person is thriving in business, I can also thrive in business because I was given the same charge that this person was given. I can be just as fruitful as this person is. Understanding the statement eliminates the need for envy, eliminates the need for unhealthy competition, it eliminates the need for jealousy or strife. Knowing fully well that we all have the same blessing, that we all blessed, that we're all fruitful, that we've all been encouraged to use these resources that God has deposited on the earth and in us, to do what we have to do. I think, I don't know about you guys, but it was such a profound realization to me when it was broken down in my brain like this. I've just been really, really excited, and it's encouraging me to want to create more. I'm no longer feeling the need to look at what the next person is doing. In fact, I am more than happy when I see you doing what you're supposed to do or using your gifts because I know that you're actually fulfilling the mandate that God has given you at creation. Do you understand? So let me be the one to remind you again, guys. Whenever you're feeling down, whenever you're feeling like you're behind in life, or whenever you're feeling like, you know what, nothing is working well for me, remember that you are blessed. Even if it doesn't look like it right now, this is who you are. This was the charge given to you. That whatever you lay your hands on is blessed, that you are fruitful. And it's okay for you to want to go into business or to stay in career or do whatever you have to. God has told you, you know what, these resources that are put on the earth, use it, subdue it, dominate it, but not your fellow humans, guys. And I think this is very instructive. So I want to encourage us to always remember your creation story and your charge that has been given to you by God. Always remember that you're carrying the very image and likeness of God. And whatever God is, He has replicated in you. So if you think God is powerful, that means you're also powerful. If you think God is excellent, it means that you're also excellent. If you think that, the devil cannot stop God, which he cannot, it also means that the devil cannot stop you. And even if you feel like, oh, God is too powerful, I cannot relate, how can you say that, oh, whatever God is, I am? If you choose to forget that you're created in the likeness and image of God, then do not forget that you're blessed, that you're fruitful, and that you're encouraged to enjoy this earth, to dominate it and subdue it alongside your fellow humans. You are not to subdue the next person, you are not to oppress anybody. All of you can fly. You're all blessed with fruitfulness, guys. And I hope that this creation story and this blessing will always manifest in our lives. And I hope it has the same impact that it had in me, guys. Seriously, since I read it that way and meditated on that creation story, in fact, I've been in a much better place. I'm happier for some reason. I mean, who would believe that the same creation story that I've read over and over again will have this such a profound effect on me? So, and I hope it does on you too. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I hope to see you in the next video.